If this interruption continues, then we'll see prices spike. We already have seen the impact in the LNG market with prices up 40+% in the first day. Then we could see the price of oil spike to $150 a barrel or more for a period of time. And for 20% to go off the market suddenly, that's going to have a very large, far-reaching impact on a number of the economies. Well, if you can't transport it out the strait, you can't load tankers, then there's nothing to do but shut in. Well, if this interruption continues, then we'll see prices spike across the global market. We already have seen the impact in the LNG market with prices up 40+% in the first day. And natural gas prices across European nations almost doubling over the Monday-Tuesday timeframe. We've also seen the price of diesel jump disproportionately. And of course, for those nations that were depending upon LNG, a lot of them can switch to petroleum fuels. And so they've begun to buy the diesel up. This impact actually is obviously a second order, third order impact. It's going to have a tremendous impact on the United States. The New England states get their natural gas, their marginal supplies from the LNG market globally. And that's going to drive up the price of electricity for those residents in New England. In the United States, we've seen the price of West Texas Intermediate, our benchmark oil price, up about 25% since the end of the Venezuelan affair with the removal of Maduro. At that point, the president turned the U.S. Navy towards the Middle East, and the market began to anticipate that Iran's export production, a little more than 1 million barrels a day, would soon be off the market. And that fits with about a 20-25% price increase. If half of the oil coming through the Strait of Hormuz is stopped, perhaps just because a U.S. Navy convoy can't escort any more out at a time, then we could see the price of oil spike to $150 a barrel or more for a period of time. Well, domestically for the United States, it means that the midterm elections will go very badly for President Trump. It's hard to believe that they did not think these ramifications through. If they didn't, it was very poor planning. If they did and weren't prepared for it, then they acted recklessly. Well, they're going to be buying the available cargoes on the open seas. As we recall 4 years ago, when Russia invaded Ukraine and cut off the supply of gas to the EU, LNG cargoes were redirected from all across the global supply chain to Europe. Eventually, it supplanted and allowed Europe to go away from the Russian natural gas. But keep in mind, the LNG market globally is very much a just-in-time supply chain. No one builds receiving facilities or power plants without having a set, stable supply of LNG. And of course, that's what the suppliers have been giving them. And for 20% to go off the market suddenly, that's going to have a very large, far-reaching impact on a number of the economies of the Western and developing nations. Well, if you can't transport it out the strait, you can't load tankers, then there's nothing to do but shut in. We recall during the pandemic in the United States that once consumers stopped buying gasoline, the fuel backed up at the retail stations, it backed up at the distributors, backed up at the refineries, eventually going back to the producers in the field. In West Texas, they were pumping oil into swimming pools to try and keep the oil wells alive, but eventually they had to shut them in.